Hi guys, this is Howard with Gear Rush. We're here today on the beautiful middle fork of the Salmon River, and I've been on the trip now for 5 days with a new Kokatat dry suit. I was excited to get something that was a little different in that it had a bottom and a top that was completely separated, so you could use the top as a dry top if you wanted, and add the bottom and make it a full dry suit. It seemed like a wonderful idea. However, what I learned after a month of trying to put this thing on is that the zipper has some issues. It is well thought out in what it's attempting to do, but the execution is not what I was hoping for. So I just wanted to do this little talk to tell you how to use a zipper. It's that simple, how to use a zipper on these new Kokatat dry suits. So anyway, as you would expect with any zipper, you would need to put a slot into the beginning of the zipper to get it started. However, what you see is when these things are angled, they're not angled in a proper direction. There's also this little bolt action thing that's supposed to close it at the end. However, when you put the zipper in and it's off at this angle, what will happen is that the thing, when you're trying to pull it in, pulls in about part way and then doesn't pull back the rest of the way. And then you try to zip it and you realize the bottom is still open, and then there's a gap, and then obviously water gets in. So therefore, you sit and you try to get this little thing in, and like any zipper, you just figure you line it up, you maybe push this up here and you pull. In the case of this zipper, that doesn't completely work, and you start yanking on it, which just stresses the material, and eventually if you do that enough times, you'll break it. Instead, what you need to do is pull it in so far and then push it the rest of the way. They give you a little bit of a lubricant to put on the zipper. That doesn't really seem to help when you're first getting this thing out of the bag, but doing this little maneuver, do it again for you here so that you can see that it now is zipped, and this little box here is lined up with this box, and that has to happen. And if it doesn't happen up completely lined up, this will have a gap in it and you will not have a seal. So to go through that one more time, you have to make sure the thing is not off to the side by kind of angling it up and holding it there with your finger, because this thing's weighing it down and it wants to pull it over off angle. You put it in, you get it in so far by pulling it, and then the last little bit you push in. And I tell you, I did this for a bunch of times before I realized that that little maneuver right there, pushing it right at the end, is the key to getting that started. And once you get that in and you've confirmed that this is working the way it's supposed to, you can zip the whole thing around. And then the completion part of it also has some tricks. There's a little bolt here that has a nut on it. If the nut is loose and there's any play in that, you're not going to get it down tight enough. So therefore, you need to tighten the bolt with the nut until it's finger tight. The double check that you had this right is to pull this over. If you see that the two ends here are not completely aligned, you probably do not have the beginning of the zipper started right, and you need to start over again. Once you've confirmed that that is not the case, that this box right here is lined up with that box right there, and the zipper is started right, and you get to this end, these two should line up here exactly side to side. Again, they gave you the lubricant, you put that on there, you pull this in, tighten that up. The next part is to get the bolt onto here, which sounds simple, but when you put the thing over onto here, it doesn't always line up the way it's supposed to. The most common problem is that you didn't get it set up on this end or that end properly. In any case, once you get it on there, then you can lock the thing down. If you do a couple spins and it doesn't seem to be taking, it's because it's not lining up, and it takes a couple times to figure out where the alignment is. It's frustrating, but you have to get it lined up to get it started. The other thing to know is that you have to tighten it down really tight. to get it actually watertight. It's not just tighten it down to where it feels kind of, it's almost there. Tighten it down to where you really can't tighten it again. If you do all that, the zipper works. This has been another episode of Gear Guide.